Hello! Welcome back to the swim doctor's office. I'm the swim doctor, not in my normal attire, kind of, as you may have noticed. Now, that is because I'm about to go to the movies. A couple things that I do want to go over with you guys is make sure you leave a like. It really helps out the channel, and you watch the video the entire way through. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of content you want to see next. If you have any other questions about anything else swim-wise that I can answer for you, leave it down in the comments. That way I can solve all your problems. Enough about that, back to our regularly scheduled program. I'm going to be going over 5 pro tips of how you can get faster freestyle. Number 1, we're going to go over the buoyancy part of it. So, what I mean is you want to be level with the water, okay? If you're even a little bit tilted like that, and this could be from kicking, that's usually what causes the slight tilt where your head over here is a little bit higher than your feet, and you start tilting like that, and then start swimming like this. That's going to cause you to use a lot more energy and a lot more power to keep yourself up and go forward, because when you're tilted like this, your body's naturally going to want to tend to push down in the water to try to keep yourself up. So prevent that, make sure your body is level. And this is what I talk a lot about with my students, is be aware of where your body is at in the water. Be fully aware of it. You want to know what your arms are doing, what your legs are doing, how your breathing is going, how you're turning, you know, where you are in the water, not where you are specifically, but like, you know, buoyancy wise and, you know, that kind of stuff. Be fully aware of what your body is doing in the water. And how you do this is by breaking things down step by step. So going with the process of how I was teaching you guys how to swim before in my first videos that I made, you're gonna want to go in that kind of process. So you start with floating, then you do kicking, then you do arms, and then breathing last. Breathing is always last, and the reason why it is always last is because it is a fight or flight mode. Breathing is something you need to survive, so if you don't get it, your body's gonna freak out and do anything you can to keep yourself up above the water so you can breathe. So doing that is going to cause you to try to push down the water. Like I said, if you push down in the water, you're going to be using a lot of energy to do that when you don't need to, and you're going to wear yourself out way too fast. So yeah, make sure your body is level. Now next, let's talk about your kicks. Most new swimmers, or most swimmers that have taken a break for a while and come back to swimming, you tend to be a little bit more stiff. And what people tend to do when they're stiff is keep their toes, instead of pointing them forward and kicking, your toes are like this and kicking. Now if your toes are kicking up and down like this, you're not going to move anywhere. The reason why is because the power comes from your feet, not your legs. When you kick down, the water hits your legs and just goes right past it. With your feet, since it's more of a flat surface, that's what's going to catch the water. So if you point your toes when you're kicking, that's going to be the thing that catches the water and pushes you forward. So you got to always point your toes. And I will keep saying point your toes because that is the number one thing I have to work on with new swimmers, is pointing your toes. All right, now let's talk about the arms. So the most important thing is, actually I don't know what the most important thing is. They're all pretty important. First, let's just talk about the catch. So the catch means when you bring your arm up and around, your arm goes into the water. Remember, we're not slapping the water. You're kind of diving into the water with your hand. So when your arm is fully in front of you and you really got to reach, stretch as far as you can, you grab the water and you pull it back. And always remember, anything flat is going to be the part that's pushing you. So the palm of your hand, make sure that this part right here is the thing that's pointing behind you, because you want to be going forward, and how you go forward is you pull back, right? So if you're pushing down and then you bring your arm back, you're only using maybe 70% of that pull. So we want to use 100% of that. So make sure you catch the water in the beginning, and you make sure the palm of your hand is pointing behind you the whole time your arm is coming back. So when your arm is coming back, your arm is going to be straight behind you, okay? And then your pinky is coming up out of the water first. Pinky comes up, and then you bring your arm around, kind of like a butterfly. So you bring your arm around. If you bring your arm up too high, it's gonna make you unbalanced. So you gotta make sure your arm comes just above the water. That way it's easier and more smooth when you go back into the water. The more splashing you do with your hands and your feet means the more air you're bringing down into the water, which also means that's less water for you to pull back on or use when you're kicking. So we don't want to be pulling air, because if I did this in the air, I'm not going to move. Okay, now that we got the floating, the legs, and the arms all taken care of, let's now talk about the breathing part of it. When you breathe, the most efficient way to breathe is just barely bringing your mouth out of the water. And this comes with practice. So the more practice you do, the better you're gonna be at this. When you do your breath, you're coming back here, and you're only breathing when your arm comes all the way back behind you. You're not breathing before, you're not breathing after. Only when your arm comes back and your arm is straight is when you're going to be lifting your head up to take a breath. And you're gonna breathe like you kind of normally breathe. Anytime your face is down into the water, you're going to be breathing out slightly. Anytime your mouth is out of the water, you're going to be breathing in, obviously. Now, a trick that I've learned is when you bring your arm back and you're starting to bring your head up out of the water, is breathe out like you're blowing a birthday candle. That way you form a bubble around your mouth and you can breathe in sooner. So you're gonna breathe, and you see how I'm not bringing my head straight up. I'm only going slightly. The water's gonna be about right here. It's gonna be a little freaky for the newer people. It's gonna be really freaky because the water line is about right here at the edge of your mouth. And you're gonna take a breath in the whole way your arm comes around. You're not gonna take a breath halfway. You're not gonna take a breath from all the way back here to halfway. You're not gonna be taking a breath in from halfway to in front of you. Because once your arm comes in front of you is when you want to turn your head and bring it down into the water. All right, and the last and final thing is practice, practice, practice. If you're not practicing 2 or 3 times a week, progress is going to be pretty slow. Sorry to tell you, but it's going to be pretty slow. So you got to make sure that you're practicing 2 to 3 times a week if you really want to get fast as soon as possible. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. Remember to leave a comment and let me know what other videos you would like to see or other things you need help with. And I'm the Swim Doctor, and come back for more cures.